My teacher said I'd never amount to anything last week. I hired her to clean my house. Have you ever had someone's words haunt you for years? When I was in 10th grade, Mrs. Peterson, my English teacher, made it her mission to crush my spirit. I wasn't a perfect student. I struggled with dyslexia that hadn't been diagnosed yet, making her writing assignments pure torture. One day after class, she held up my essay in front of several students waiting at the door. This is why some people should just learn a trade, she announced loudly. College isn't for everyone, especially those who can't construct a proper sentence. The other kids snickered as my face burned with shame, but her final blow came during parent-teacher conferences. Looking my mother straight in the eyes, she said, "Your daughter will never amount to anything in the academic world. I wouldn't waste money on college applications." My mom cried the whole way home. I decided that night that I would prove Mrs. Peterson wrong if it was the last thing I did. I got diagnosed with dyslexia the following year and learned strategies to work around it. I stayed up until 2 a.m. most nights, working twice as hard as my classmates. When rejection letters came from colleges, I taped them to my wall as fuel. Eventually, I got accepted to a state school, then transferred to an Ivy League for my master's, and finally completed my PhD in linguistics, ironically studying how language processing disorders affect learning. Fast forward 12 years, I now run my own educational technology company developing apps for students with learning disabilities. We just secured $40 million in funding, and I bought my dream house, a modern 5-bedroom overlooking the city. Last week, I was interviewing housekeeping services when a familiar face appeared at my door. Mrs. Peterson, now in her 60s, stood there in a cleaning company uniform, clearly not recognizing the grown version of the 16-year-old she had humiliated. When she introduced herself, I smiled and said, "Excellent, we've met before. You were my 10th grade English teacher." The color drained from her face as recognition dawned. She stammered an apology about how teachers sometimes say things they don't mean when they're stressed. I didn't gloat or send her away. Instead, I hired her company specifically requesting her and paid above their asking rate. Not out of pity, but because success truly is the best revenge. Every other Tuesday, the woman who told me I'd never amount to anything now cleansed the bathrooms in the home I bought with the success she said I'd never have. The greatest lesson Mrs. Peterson taught me wasn't about English at all. It was that the people who underestimate you don't get to define your potential. Only you do.